Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training, here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. This week, we're talking about slow is a skill. And it's sort of funny, to be honest, that I'm recording this today, because last night, I was anything but slow. Not slow. Every now and again, of late, I've been going from sad or uncertain to pissed in 0.2 seconds. And I know when I'm in that state, it's not the best for anybody. So I need this tip as much as you might right now. I'm a mover. I think really, really quickly. I think I can fit 24,000 things into 24 hours. My mind runs a million miles a minute, and my dad, not so much. We are not the same. And in comes the change of state to pissed into 0.2 seconds. My mind works so fast that when I was in high school, my mom taught at my high school, I had to ask her to get me out of typing class because my theory was this, that my thoughts were so fast that my hands couldn't keep up. And yes, we took typing on a typewriter. And I didn't want to ruin my GPA, so you got to get me out of there. Well, I paid the price for that when I got to graduate school and really needed to know how to type. But, we learn lessons the hard way. I learned something the hard way recently, too, and that is that my fury, my speed doesn't always help. And I needed to shift modes last night, and when I went to slower, it was better for all of us. So when I'm caring for my dad, or things feel heavy, or things are uncertain, or we're irritated, or we're scared, we're better when we slow down. That doesn't mean like that we slow down mentally first, but we physically can slow things down. When we talk softer and more slowly, when we're a little bit more intentional, we're better. Or maybe I should say, I'm better. It's hard because it's not who I am. It might not be who you are. I'm a let's get this fixed, let's be disciplined kind of person. My dad is not that much of a type A personality. But when I'm in that rushed mode, I'm more reactive. I'm less patient. I'm less kind. And when I slow down, things are better for everybody. This made me think about something we don't really pay much attention to most of the time until we see an emergency or we're in an emergency. And we were in an emergency years ago when I was coaching in Akron, and our number one hitter was up at the plate, and she had bat speed like mad, and she rips a foul ball into the first base dugout, which is our dugout, and it hits our pitcher right in the side of the head. I'm in the third base box. I have to walk across the field and get over there to see what's going on. And in the meantime, I feel like I'm going to throw up because I thought she was dead, like literally. So before the paramedics could get to us, one of our parents sort of jumped into action. Well, he didn't jump into anything, and I really thought that he should be moving a little bit more quickly, but he's a professional. And I was a softball coach, and what I thought didn't make any difference because he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. He walked down from the stands, he walked into the dugout, because here's how it works. Paramedics, first responders, don't run to the scene, not because they don't care, but because they care so much that they need their heart rate to be under control so they can think, decide, and act with precision. And that's what we needed. We needed precise action at the moment. So I didn't start to cry or whatever, right, in my state. Speed without discipline doesn't work. It's sort of funny. It's the way I talk about hitting from the mental side of the game. We identify, we decide, and we act. And we can't do any of those things if our heart rate is beating in our ears. Because whether we are identifying, deciding, and acting, or thinking, deciding, and acting, we need to be able to think to do that. And when our arousal level gets too high, our thinking narrows, our decision-making degrades, our emotional responses take over. We think we win with more speed and more effort, but sometimes that's not true. Sometimes those things lead us to a loss of access, to skills, to judgment, and in my current situation, to empathy, quite frankly. That's the part we forget. We think we need to go fast and hard, but maybe not. Research shows that physiological stress increases as it does. We experience progressive shift towards simpler, faster responses and move away from deliberate and accurate processing. This is the classic speed / accuracy trade-off. And sometimes we need the speed, but when we're thinking about the cognitive part of the game, we need to make sure that we are able to manage what's right in front of us. When our heart rate climbs, our arousal intensifies, and we talk all the time about being in our IZOF, our individual zone of function, we have to figure out what that is for us, because our best zone sometimes changes with the moment. Sometimes we need an edge. Sometimes moments require calm. Some moments require us to downshift or slow it down so we can see what the situation really wants us to do or needs us to do. Slowing down doesn't mean that we care less. It means that we're regulating so we can best lead ourselves and the next moment. To athletes, this might be like slowing our walk back to the circle or to the foul line, or taking a longer exhale, or softening our eyes before the next rep, or whatever it is. As a parent, it might be changing our tone. It might be just sort of lowering our voice, or raising it if we need to, right? If that's, we have to change our arousal level in that way. As leaders, it might mean pausing before we respond when our emotions are high. If we're a coach, right, maybe take just a pause for a second. Maybe that's just what we need to slow the time down and let our brain catch up. Right now, for me, slowing down is how I have to try to stay present. It's how I stay more patient. It's how I stay more human when things feel like they're sort of getting out of control. So here's the play. And we can do this in sports and in life, right? First, we know that naming the moment makes a difference. I'm speeding up. That awareness is our unlock. It throws everything back to our thinking brain, and that's where we need to be. The other thing we can do is think about our physiology first. We can do our physiological sigh, maybe one or two of them. A quick inhale, a quick extra inhale, a long exhale, and then make our last intentional exhale the longest one of the day, and slow everything down. We can slow our outputs on purpose, our feet, our hands, our voice, just for a second. Research shows that if we put our hands on the table when we're having a conversation, our speech will slow down. Try it. It's fascinating. Fascinating. We can also use one calm cue, whether it's slow or steady or next. Just pick one and commit to it and be like, okay, that's what I need to be. We also can check our individual zone of function. Do I need to be more calm? Do I need an edge? What does this demand, and how do I match that? Because sometimes our best movement performance is to speed up, but choosing to be slow on purpose helps us to be able to think and respond intentionally. And that is really, really important. It helps us be in the moment that we need to be in. Slow is not weak, slow is skilled. What do you need to slow down in this week? When we think of slow, we think, oh, we're not doing enough work. We think, oh, we're going to miss something. But the truth of it is, when our heart rate gets too high, our brain, our thinking brain, for all intents and purposes, shuts off. We need access to this. We need access to this so we can lead this. We need access to these, to our hands, to whatever. And we know that if we're not present and we can't think, then everything is going to be a lot harder. Now, am I advocating for going out and doing a whole lot of thinking? No. I'm advocating for quick decisions when we need them. And when our heart rate's high, sometimes we've got to slow it down so we can get the next thing right. Our heart rate usually rises when something went wrong. So why don't we just, for a second, and slow it down? It has been fascinating to me to sit in my head and listen to myself talk sometimes. I am not slow. I am not quiet. I am none of those things. But when I listen to myself and I hear my voice being calm and I hear my voice being a little bit slower, and I watch my hands literally move just at the speed that they need to move at the time, not all over the place, I know that everyone that's in the room with me is in a better position to get what they need. Now, does that mean under pressure we've got to be like sloths? Of course not. We've got to know what the situation demands. We think all the time about giving more. I'm just trying to get you to think about when you need to take your speedometer down just a little bit. How can that help you this week? That's the question. Hey, we're in the rush of the holidays. This might be a great time for you to figure out when you need to put your hands down or slow it down with your breath or pick that word, whatever it is. So think about it. If you'd like to talk about this or you'd like to get me to your campus this semester, I would love to make the trip wherever you are. JulieJ at ssbperformance.com. I hope you have a great week, but it's your choice. Until next week, see you soon.